Give me your overall thoughts and your overall impression of the show as a whole to get started.
I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I saw where you had given it an 8.3 out of
Yep.
10, which I know it's not just talking about reviewing these fights and previewing these fights, but I know you also are in the process of developing like a
Right.
sophisticated rating system for the cards, and I don't know what else. I don't want to put words in your mouth,
Yeah.
but probably fighters
Right.
and all, going on and on and on, because I know that's one of the things that's going to differentiate the MMA review from a lot of the other outlets out there
Right.
is your rating system and ranking system. But let me ask you, why did you give it an 8.3? Like, why not an 8.5 or why the point three? Like what factors led to
Right.
that?
So the 8.3 comes in because it's an average of quite a few different things. And actually, it would, the final aggregate score was 7.8. And then I add a half a point for every title matchup, every potential
Really?
title change. Yes. So anyway, I look at things like the momentum and the vibe throughout the card, kind of if it's slow at times or if it's not. And it was great in that regard. It was pretty hyped the whole time. The finish rate comes into it, but I don't want to be a stickler for every fight doesn't have to be a finish. There's going to be decisions, so decision quality comes into it. The significance of the main card, like how many actual significant matchups are on it. Are they just putting guys on there because they're a buzz name right now, or are they like top 10, top 5 guys looking for title shots, things like that? Star power, guys who just have a massive, or a draw, a star, and Mark Hunt obviously in that region at least is a massive star. So that comes into it. The crowd rating actually is one of the most important ones to me, and I'm trying to kind of build it. And that comes from Instagram stories. I put a poll up after the fight card's over, and it's up 24 hours, and I say, thumbs up, thumbs down. How did you feel about this card? And on this one, I believe it was 90% were positive. So that was, obviously good. Twitter, I do the same. And Facebook, I do the same. I just want the crowd input because I don't want it all to be my bias if there is. I want the crowd to have some. And then the last one is my instinct rating. As soon as the show's over, I write down a number, what I think before I look at crunch any numbers. What did I feel right off the bat? How would I have just rated it without looking at anything? And I actually gave it a 9 in that regard.
Yeah.
Crunched all these numbers. Another thing I look at is memorable moments or finishes. So think Edson Barbosa spinning back wheel kick Terry Edom. That's like one of those things that like years down the road you think that was like a crazy moment.
Yeah.
So for me, Yoel's finish,
UL kissing
it,
Rockhold.
right? Those things, like those are just crazy. And Tai Tuivasa chugging the shoey, things like that. So I look at all that. Anyway, the average, it came out to 7.8, added a 0.5 for the one title potential matchup. If Luke Rockhold had won, he would have gotten interim. So that's kind of how I came to the 8.3. I'm still working on that system. It's not perfect by any means, but I'm working on it. And I'm hoping to get it refined and learn and get input from different people and kind of get a good system down for ranking these.
That's crazy. If you can get that stuff up on like a website,
Yeah.
and this is all new and it grows
Right,
over time,
exactly,
and you
exactly.
build an audience and it all changes as well. But
Right.
yeah, but if you can get that up like on a website, like that is fascinating. I knew you were doing something behind the
Right.
scenes to add all this up, but I didn't know it was that sophisticated.
I'm working on it, and it's still like some of those things might just be silly, but they make sense to me at this point, and that's kind of what I'm going with at the moment. It'll change over time, but that's how I got to the number.